Many people underestimate the specific skill sets that they need on a team, along with the very specific personalities that might be required as well. We'll be coming to explain more of this in future episodes of this podcast, possibly one including blending your team. But use this episode as a starter because just because you've recruited a team and everybody seems to get on, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be commercially successful. Just like in team sports, you can have really good teams of attackers, often called forwards or strikers, depending on ice hockey or football, but your team is unlikely to be unsuccessful without having a decent team of defenders at the back, helping to save goals being scored by the opposition or helping to get the ball or the puck forward for those attackers to then eventually score. So, if we look at one of the easiest examples when it comes to teams, and let's say sales teams, a lot of businesses might recruit people with big egos, loud personalities, those that have closed deals both well and fast, and they think that's the best metric because they've got big personalities to push into clients that will hopefully keep pushing until the deal is made. Yet, when you do some research behind the scenes, very often these personalities are the last people a client wants to liaise with. A growing trend now, being one that we've advocated for many years, is having people that are calmer, more patient, if anything, are more introverted, yet they still have that confidence to speak to people who will listen to clients. So, even though sales will still attract big personalities, and you may have one or two on a team, especially if the team is of a certain size, you might find that their conversions either work out to be worse or less profitable than other personalities in the team, depending on what's required from the clients. You might also find that those personalities burn out quicker as well, because they're always running to a higher energy form than people that are much calmer and much more patient. Therefore, having too much of the same type of people on a team can be more of a weakness instead of the strength that lots of people or managers, business managers, executives, whoever they may be, may otherwise at first think is. There are lots of different leadership programs and platforms and theories as well that you can lean into, a lot of which will give good or decent ideas in terms of the team that you need to create. The problem is, though, those platforms seldom represent reality, because every team, every business, every client is different, and every single one of those needs is different as well. In fact, every deal to be made, every order to process, every requirement from every client, even if it's the same client on repeat purchases or conventional numerous orders, will all be from a different need. Therefore, buying into these systems, using them, liaising with HR, all of these things can help, but it doesn't uncover the fundamental benefits of doing things a different way with a nuance of reality. And these are the things that we look at. I mean, we run projects like this all of the time, helping clients overcome issues with teams, helping businesses sell into other businesses, even helping other organizations buy from certain companies that they thought were good and the relationship was going a bit sour. We've therefore got involved to ease things through, especially if the organization that they were using was the major one that they needed to use for production purposes, a unique part, or they'd help them get ahead in the market, and therefore there was a little bit of loyalty there that they wanted to repair. So there's often two sides of this equation, and this is what we help people to deal with. The same can be said for internal teams though. Whereas just using the example of sales being an external team to bring the business in, liaising with clients or other stakeholders, you will have numerous internal teams in an organization, and you might need to assess the type of people involved with those to help productivity, help communications, and help improve efficiencies inside the business that you otherwise might not have thought was necessary. For example, financial teams will probably attract a lot of analytical and introverted people again. But unless they've got the confidence to liaise with people at higher levels, C-suite members or just managers, or to be able to go and liaise with different people from different departments, you will find there are various communication gaps that will cause issues throughout a year and throughout different processes. This can create tensions, all of which will be frustrating inside the organization, but eventually, if left to manifest, will then seep out to the outside of the organization, which then in turn could cause problems with clients or stakeholders. Invoices not being processed on time, additional communication to help with a certain order, all of these things, even just the minor details, can make a big difference when you're going from the internal to the external focus. So it shouldn't seldom just be about the tasks. It should also be about the personalities and possibly the most important of all, the values, the interest, and of course then the ambitions. If you can stitch and align all of those things together, you can then have solid, integrated, well-networked and well-connected teams both inside and those moving to the outside of an organization, but that is seldom an easy fix. Now don't get us wrong, we do this all of the time. It now becomes second nature to us. We might not always find the right people in an organization to help create or build a team with, and therefore we have to lean on external recruitment with that client organization to help fulfill that team. But the most important thing of all is having the skills and the insights to be able to assess what kind of people and personalities a team needs and then start to build it accordingly. Even if a team doesn't look to be perfect to begin with, you can then find ways of allowing that team to operate as efficiently as possible until other people or the right people are found. Now, that also doesn't mean that when you do find these other people in the team at the moment then get pushed out or made redundant, sacked or whatever. Because what you'll also find if you look deeply enough, you will probably have one or two people on that team doing an okay to decent job that would rather be doing a different job elsewhere, but still in your organization. Therefore, moving people around or being able to move them around when you've got a better understanding of what their skill sets are, what their interests are, and what the holistic need and necessity is of that team works out to be better for all. Everybody comes into the office or into the working forum to do a job that they look forward to doing far better than what they might have done. Everything becomes much more efficient. That then pushes out to assist clients even better than what it could have done, and therefore then you have these positive motions taking place opposed to issues or problems that could otherwise be created. Therefore, it's often very hard to find cures for all the problems that lots of organizations or people face in a 9 to 10, 11 to 12 minute podcast episode. It's certainly hard to describe all of the issues that people face from all of the client projects that we represent. And of course, we can't go into things with certain confidentiality, but we can take a top line approach and look at the principle of then what we do. But hopefully this episode has helped to introduce different areas and focus that need to be looked at. And then if you want to tune into further episodes, you'll get a little bit of greater depth. And of course, you'll know where we are, both as an organization and the podcast itself, should you want more information. We've also got books and material being produced that will assist at the same time as well. And that's, of course, everything that we do. We're always geared to help people get on for the better, to help you get ahead a little bit further. And there are lots of different forums and contact mechanisms now where we can integrate with people even deeper. The best thing we can suggest, therefore, is to have a think of the teams in place at your organization at present, or the teams that you have influence on or that you're trying to create. Because what they need to do, who they need to service, whether it's external clients or internal stakeholders, can determine the ultimate effectiveness in terms of what they produce, how they get on, and it's far more complex, although to us very straightforward, in terms of building the right team for ultimate effectiveness, especially for a long term, without consistent changes or people leaving or problems arising, whatever. And again, this is what we're here to do, to educate people a little bit more, inform them with new ideas, and to open our doors and our gateways for more information over and above the books and material that we have out there in place at the moment. Hopefully you'll tune into more episodes in that case. Our material is there to resource and reference, but there's more information coming on this podcast, so we'll look forward to seeing you soon.